In the stock market, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Barbados once again faced declines. Tech Bytes talks digital currency, and Marvin Ottley on semi-professional football, and Audrey Wallace, our innovator, talks about the business of media. I'm Destiny Wagner, and this is Legacy Markets. Good night and welcome to Legacy Markets. I will be your host for a weekly show, the newest source for intelligent and unbiased coverage of money, business, and the economy, both at home and in the Caribbean region. We will be looking at ours and the region's tech industry in the segment Tech Bytes with our special contributor, Janine Hamilton. And we will have weekly discussions on the synergy of business and sports. Now, we join analyst and co-host Abby for the weekly business headlines and the latest news on the Caribbean stock markets.
The Jamaican Stock Exchange declined by 1.3% from the previous trading week. The top two winners were Kingston Properties Limited up by 9% and Mayberry Investments Limited up by 7%. For the top two losers, we had Ep-2 Caribbean Property Fund, which was down by 11%, and Pan Jamaica Group, which was down by 11%. Rising temperatures in Jamaica have caused the demand for tap water to increase, further resulting in empty taps. The National Water Commission in Jamaica plans to embark on a series of projects costing $460 million to solve this problem. The Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange declined by 1.4% this week, and our top two winners were Grace Kennedy Limited up by 2% and Guardian Holdings Limited up by 1%. The top two losers were Anson McCall Limited down by 5% and One Caribbean Media Limited, which was down by 3%. NCB Merchant Bank in Trinidad and Tobago received a good credit rating of Carry A locally and TTA nationally, indicating good creditworthiness. This stable outlook is based on the firm's expected profits and improvements in Trinidad and Tobago's economy. And in Barbados, Prime Minister Mia Mottley is advocating for an agreement that would enable small island developing states, which typically have a high exposure to natural disasters, climate change, and limited resources, to temporarily halt debt repayments in the aftermath of a disaster or crisis. The Barbados Stock Exchange declined by 2 basis points from the previous trading week, and no stock advanced or declined at the end of the day. In our neck of the woods, the Statistical Institute of Belize's latest Consumer Price Index survey revealed a national inflation rate of 4.2% for October 2023. This was a notable drop from the previous year's rate of 6.7%. And effective December 18, consumers will see a hike in the price of a 16-ounce pack of sliced bread, jumping from $1.75 to $2.50. This increase stems from a joint decision by bakers after being unable to discuss a way forward with the government of Belize.
Legacy Fund will change Belize from small-scale municipal improvement projects to national infrastructural advancement. Unsightly playgrounds, derelict buildings, unsafe bridges, poor housing choices will become a thing of the past. How will this happen, you ask? Well, with the right partners, of course, but not the ones you're thinking of. Legacy is not looking at traditional financial institutions. We will build this transformation with you, the everyday hard-working Belizean citizen. The hairdresser, the tour guide, the fruit vendor at the market. Using the market and innovative financial tools, Legacy brings you and Belize the financial solution to grow your wealth for you and your community. Contact us and find out how you can be a part of this exciting new Belize that we build. Call 822-1794 or email clientservices@legacyfundlimited.com. People, capital, innovation. Legacy Fund Limited.
joining us on Legacy Markets. This show is centered on finance and the economy, so we want to talk briefly about some of the key issues we will discuss in future shows. So Abigail, many of our audience members and viewers are new to this entire area of capital markets and the Belize market return. Can you help them, as well as myself, understand the capital market and exactly what it is?
So the capital market is just a place where you have individuals with a need for long-term finance, and then you have individuals with patient capital. So patient capital is just where you have people with monies set aside, just needing to put it somewhere where it can grow. And so when individuals with a need for long-term financing and individuals with a need for patient capital come together to do business through two types of financial assets, those being debt instruments and equity instruments, that's where the capital market takes place. And just for clarity, the debt instruments that I'm talking about are bonds. Meanwhile, for equity instruments, those are referring to stocks or shares.
Thanks, Abigail. So before we get into how Legacy measures this investment, can you tell us what the Belize market return is?
Yes, so the Belize market return, or what we often just call the BMR for short, is a numerical tool that we use to measure or take a look at all public investments in Belize. And so this would include those short-term financial assets or investments like savings accounts. But we also take a look at long-term financial assets or investments like stocks or other public investments that are available in our market.
You mentioned public availability. Can you go into some more depth in regards to that?
Yeah, so when I say publicly available investments or securities, those are just referring to those investments that anyone can participate in, anyone has an opportunity to own. And so these publicly available securities are issued by public companies. So a good example of this would be the Belize Telemedia Limited, or what we tend to know as BTL. And so BTL issues their own share and stock, and anyone has an opportunity to own a share or stock from BTL. But just for comparison, on the other hand, we have Smart, or they trade as Smart, but they're known as SpeedNet as well. And Smart is a private company. It does issue its own share or stock, but not anyone can own it. It's private. Another good thing, or good to know about a public company versus private, is that a public company can release financial statements and any one of its shareholders can view it publicly. But with a private company like Smart, not anyone can look at their financial statements.
Okay, so just to reiterate, once a company is public, the BMR can look at that information as public information.
Yeah, because it's available for anyone to see and take a look at.
Okay, so considering the BMR for this quarter is 3.7%, how can the audience take that information and use it for their own benefit to, let's say, invest or to make a decision?
Yes, so the Belize market return, or the BMR rate of 3.7%, should be used as a benchmark. So when you're considering to take on an investment, you want to consider how much return am I getting currently and comparing it with your BMR rate. So if you notice that the return or the money that you're getting at this moment is below that 3.7% rate, then you might want to think about diversifying your investments and getting something that would give you a return higher than you're currently getting, right? But then if you notice that your current investment is earning you higher than that 3.7%, then now at this point you want to consider, am I taking on enough risk? Am I comfortable with the current risk that I'm taking on with my investment?
Okay, so exactly how far back should one look at or do research on? Let's say BTL, for example. Am I looking at their last year? Am I looking at their past 5 years? Exactly how far back should our viewers go back to make that decision?
So at Legacy, we take a look at 13 years of historical performance. That's for looking at the long term. But we also take a look at the medium term, and so that's about 5 years of historical performance.
So just a note of interest too, a person making an investment should not only look at the returns to the investment, but they should also take into consideration risk.
Return is one side of the coin, but you also need to consider the risk that you're taking. And risk is, the way we measure the overall risk is by looking at a variability. So we looked at the difference between the return you're getting in a given period and the average return over the review period.
So essentially there's two different variables, the risk and the return. So with that information, how does an investor make a decision?
Yes, so return is a good measure, but you need to consider the risk too. And so when you look at the risk, actually we developed a metric called the return to risk ratio. And so the return to risk ratio just allows you to know for every unit of risk that I'm taking on, this is the return that I'm getting back, or this is the money that I'm getting back.
You know what, Abby, this conversation is getting interesting, but we do need to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. But when we come back, we will talk more about the BMR's record for this quarter. We'll be right back.
Are you interested in diversifying your investment portfolio while maintaining a low-risk profile? Are you the smart, sophisticated investor that is seeking greater interest return on your investments while investing in your city? If you are, then you should invest in the Belize City Council's municipal securities. The Belize City Council offers both short and long-term securities that are attractive financial market options, which provides the investor with greater social added value satisfaction. You ask why? Because your investment in the securities are reinvested back into the growth and development of your city by way of infrastructural development, streets and drainage construction, parks, playgrounds, bridge rehabilitation, and much, much more. Let's look at the key features of municipal securities. First, they are tax-free. This means more of your money stays with you. You will enjoy greater interest yield without any tax deductions. Second, our interest rates of 4.5% on municipal papers and 8% on municipal bonds easily surpasses current financial institutions' interest rates on savings. Municipal securities are also a great investment in your retirement. The faster your money grows, the faster you reach your retirement fund goals. The municipal paper and the municipal bond are both tradable and transferable investments. This means that investors can get their money back before the maturity date by selling their securities to a third party. Lastly, investing in municipal papers offers investors a steady stream of income. You will receive your full interest earned on a quarterly basis until the maturity of the paper. To learn more about the Belize City Council's municipal securities and how you can invest in your city, call our financial advisor, Alpha Capital LLP, at 822-1794. Email at securitiestrade1@alphacapital.bz or give us a call at 227-3073. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
Thanks for joining us. Abby and I are having a short conversation on key terms we will be discussing during our show. So Abby, what did the BMR for September 2023 tell us?
So from this, the third quarter's release of the BMR, what it told us was that looking at just the return, the top performers over the last 13 years was Belize Electricity Limited with their debentures, the Belize Telemedia Limited with their equity or shares, as well as the Belize City Council with their municipal bonds. So if you had invested in either one of those securities that I mentioned, you would have probably earned on average about $7 for every 100 that you invested. We also took a look at the last 5 years, and over the last 5 years, what it showed us was that BWSL had their debentures, Belize City with their municipal bonds, and the BL with their shares were also top performers, earning an average return of about $6 to $8 for every 100 you invested.
Okay, so here you spoke about factoring risk, but you only mentioned the return.
Yeah, so those were the top performers in terms of return. But if we looked at the ones that were the top performers in terms of risk, it would have been the Corozal Free Zone with their bond, BWSL with their debenture, and also Belize City Council with their municipal bond. Also, over the last 5 years, the ones that had the best return to risk ratio were Corozal Free Zone with their bond and BWSL with their debentures. Savings accounts actually had the best performance for return to risk.
Okay, so your return depends on what you're willing to invest, essentially. And everyone's risk level is different. Let's say a stay-at-home mom, she's probably not likely to invest as much as an entrepreneur or as a multi-business owner.
Yeah, everyone has a different risk appetite, but what you want to just keep into consideration, if you're not a very risky person and you decide to take on an investment that's not so risky, you should be able to expect a lower return or a lower yield on your investment. But if you're someone that is more a risk taker, then you can expect to have a higher risk for taking on that risk. A higher return for taking on that risk.
Okay, so we spoke about 15 types of investments publicly available in the Belize market. What was the total value of investments examined in the Belize market return?
So in total, it had amounted to about 4.7 billion in securities.
Is there another measure that we can consider to add to the BMR?
Oh, real estate is actually another measure we want to include in our BMR because there's a lot of Belizeans who are investing in real estate assets. And so at least our team at Legacy are working on finding a metric to keep a record of that.
Okay, and just to confirm, so the BMR comes out every quarter?
Yes, every quarter, and so our next release is expected to be mid-January next year in 2024.
Okay, so besides the viewers hearing about it on our show, where else can they go to get more information?
Yeah, so our viewers can look at the BMR on Legacy's website, so legacyfundlimited.com.
Okay. Thank you, Abigail. This conversation has been amazing, but we do need to take a break. But when we return, we will be joined by Miss Janine Hamilton with another segment of Tech Bytes. Stay tuned.
Welcome to City Pulse by your Belize City Council. Join us on an exciting journey through the heart of Belize City, where we showcase the transformative initiatives shaping our resilient community. Our commitment to the people is unwavering, and our city's progress is built on solid foundations. At the beginning of this year, we pledged to rehabilitate 90 streets. Proudly, we've completed 71 streets, or 36,431 linear feet, which accounts for an impressive 78% of our commitment. The Council has made significant progress. Among these, 23 have been concreted, 26 have undergone rehabilitation using the chip and seal method, and an additional 22 streets have been further enhanced, being filled or topped up with materials such as hardcore or all-in, demonstrating our commitment to improving our city's infrastructure. But we're not stopping there. We've identified 41 more streets that need our attention. We are projected to meet 100% of our 90-street commitment 2 months ahead of schedule, accounting for an unprecedented 54,829 plus linear feet of road rehabilitation completed within the last 10 months. This transformation is fueled by a $6.9 million budget allocation, with 59% coming from municipal papers, 41% from the Council's operations, and support from our valued partners. Stay connected with City Pulse and witness the journey of a brighter, more connected Belize City. We're committed to your future. This People's United Party City Council is always about the people.
Welcome back. Our special contributor is Janine Hamilton, the Chief Technology Officer at Legacy Fund Limited, whose area of expertise is in design, technology, and product development. Today, we're diving into the advancements of digital currencies and wallets, both locally and across the region. Digital currency is a form of currency that is available only in digital or electronic form. It is also called digital money. On the 20th of October 2020, the Central Bank of the Bahamas took sand dollar to production and a national rollout, making the central bank digital currency available to the general public. Dcash is a currency which was launched in 2021 and had been rolled out in 7 of the 8 member countries of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, also known as ECCU, namely Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In September 2021, El Salvador adopted Bitcoin as its second legally recognized national currency, alongside the US dollar. It is the first nation to adopt the Bitcoin standard, serving as a testing ground for other countries looking to adopt the digital currency as legal tender. And in Jamaica, JamDex was launched in July 2022 and is one of only 4 fully launched retail CBDCs in the world. So Janine, there's been so much talk about across the Caribbean launching their digital currency. Can you give us the difference between the two, digital currencies and wallets?
Sure. Again, hi Destiny, thanks again for having me. So the difference between a digital currency and a digital wallet is that one is an actual currency and the other, meaning the digital currency is an actual currency, it's an electronic form of a country's fiat money. And a digital wallet is basically having a device. It's really just a mechanism used to make electronic payments. So if I can get further in with the digital currencies, there are 2 types, or 2 main types, which would be cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, altcoin. Those are unregulated digital currencies. By that I mean that it is decentralized. There is no one unit that is really monitoring it. It's many, I will say, people that really keeps the records for Bitcoin and those other cryptocurrencies. However, there are CBDCs, which is central bank digital currency. So that is a regulated currency, like the sand dollar that you spoke about. So what that is a country's legal tender that is legally able to be used within a country for purchasing stuff.
Okay, so I know that Trinidad and Tobago just launched its Color app, which is going to make online shopping and purchases essentially easier. What have we been doing in Belize to occupy that space of digital currency?
Well, we've been making strides. So we do have our DigiWallet app, which is offered by our Digi or BTL or telecommunications company. And we have eCash, which is offered by Belize Bank. And we have NBB Pay, which is offered by the National Bank of Belize. So we have those 3, what they would call a mobile wallet, but it's the same as a digital wallet that people can use.
Okay, so just to confirm, the Color app that they just launched in Trinidad and Tobago, it's essentially the same as what we're currently doing with like DigiWallet and eCash?
I would say no, there are some differences. While they both facilitate electronic payments, the Color app is more of an open wallet. Right? That's the correct term for it. Yeah, it's an open wallet, meaning that you can add your banking information, your debit cards and so on, and you can use it across different payment rails. However, with the apps that we have, or the payment wallets that we have, it's a semi-closed wallet. So what that means is that there are specific merchants who have signed on to agreements with the companies offering the service, and so you can only use the wallet there.
Okay. So last week we mentioned some of the challenges that you were facing when introducing a new technology and how the public sometimes is hesitant to adapt to it.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though digital currency is being accepted well in Belize?
Well, we don't currently have a digital currency. We have our digital wallets. And well, like I said last week, adaptation will be the biggest issue. And I think that the providers of this service would also agree. There's no data, there's no public data, or maybe little public data, but I have not seen anything that really tells how they have been performing in the market. However, if you look at, let's say, the Atlantic Bank ATMs, I know the ones in Belmopan and in Belize City, whenever I pass, there's a long line. So we're still a very cash-heavy culture. You know, so yeah, I can't really judge per se. I have not really seen a lot of places to what I would believe would say, okay, yes, it has really taken off. I have not seen a lot of businesses really having it.
Okay, quick question. Based on your expertise, why do you think that we are a bit behind, or we're not as progressive compared to our other Caribbean countries when it comes to digital currency?
You know, I think, and do you mean digital currency, or do you mean with the electronic payments that we have?
The digital currency.
I think that is something that only our central bank would be able to answer because I don't know if there's anything in the making or so. But with the digital wallets that we have, I think that it's something that there's a progress. Because even, for instance, the Color app, which was just launched in Trinidad and Tobago, that company, it's being done by WePay, but that company has been around since 2015, 2016. So they have a lot of experience, and they've done a lot in sensitizing people about why, you know, they should use it. So I think that it's just something that takes progress.
Definitely. So how can we be prepared for this new technological trend?
I would say, Destiny, we just need to keep producing tech products that's geared towards electronic payments. That is just so that the public can, you know, get more familiar with it. I know that the digital wallets providers, they've been doing a tremendous job promoting and trying to sensitize the public. So we just need to move forward in that way.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Janine. We can obviously go on and on about this topic because it has so many implications. So thanks again for your contribution. We do need to take a little break, but when we return, Abby will be jumping into the business of sports, so don't go away.
Legacy Fund will change Belize from small-scale municipal improvement projects to national infrastructural advancement. Unsightly playgrounds, derelict buildings, unsafe bridges, poor housing choices will become a thing of the past. How will this happen, you ask? Well, with the right partners, of course, but not the ones you're thinking of. Legacy is not looking at traditional financial institutions. We will build this transformation with you, the everyday hard-working Belizean citizen, the hairdresser, the tour guide, the fruit vendor at the market. Using the market and innovative financial tools, Legacy brings you and Belize the financial solution to grow your wealth for you and your community. Contact us and find out how you can be a part of this exciting new Belize that we build. Call 822-1794 or email clientservices@legacyfundlimited.com. People, capital, innovation. Legacy Fund Limited.
Are you interested in diversifying your investment portfolio while maintaining a low-risk profile? Are you the smart, sophisticated investor that is seeking greater interest return on your investments while investing in your city? If you are, then you should invest in the Belize City Council's municipal securities. The Belize City Council offers both short and long-term securities that are attractive financial market options, which provides the investor with greater social added value satisfaction. You ask why? Because your investment in the securities are reinvested back into the growth and development of your city by way of infrastructural development, streets and drainage construction, parks, playgrounds, bridge rehabilitation, and much, much more. Let's look at the key features of municipal securities. First, they are tax-free. This means more of your money stays with you. You will enjoy greater interest yield without any tax deductions. Second, our interest rates of 4.5% on municipal papers and 8% on municipal bonds easily surpasses current financial institutions' interest rates on savings. Municipal securities are also a great investment in your retirement. The faster your money grows, the faster you reach your retirement fund goals. The municipal paper and the municipal bond are both tradable and transferable investments. This means that investors can get their money back before the maturity date by selling their securities to a third party. Lastly, investing in municipal papers offers investors a steady stream of income. You will receive your full interest earned on a quarterly basis until the maturity of the paper. To learn more about the Belize City Council's municipal securities and how you can invest in your city, call our financial advisor, Alpha Capital LLP, at 822-1794. Email at securitiestrade1@alphacapital.bz or give us a call at 227-3073. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
Welcome back. Today we're diving into the world of semi-professional football in Belize. At the forefront is the Premier League of Belize, which is the highest level professional football league in the country. The league consists of 8 teams across the country competing in a season that runs from August to May. To shed more light on the dynamics of semi-professional football in Belize, we have in studio Mr. Marvin Ottley. So first of all, just to give a background on football, Belize has competed in games locally and internationally, but has never qualified for a FIFA World Tournament. Nevertheless, the team also known as the Jaguars qualified in 2012 for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Belize's international ranking is 181 out of a total of 211. Belize's highest ranking was 114 in April and June 2016. Locally, teams have competed in the Premier League and local championships like the Belikin Cup. So, Mr. Marvin, in studio, I know that you're the Deputy Director of the Belize National Sports Council and also a veteran in the world of football.
Yes, I'm the Deputy Director for the National Sports Council, which does allow me to do a lot of work with all the disciplines across the country. We have 41 registered association federations in the country with the National Sports Council. Of course, there is some other small discipline that is not registered with us, but the encouragement is to get everybody registered with the National Sports Council.
First of all, I find it quite interesting that since 2012, the national team has had 11 managers. Is this a concern for the current team and future representations?
Great point, because it's a good start, because very important. Back in 2020, the Football Federation have invested in 4 local coaches. That allows us to, I am one of those 4, along with Dale Pelayo, Mr. Philip Marin, and there was an intern here in Belize by the name of Jonathan Hooper. And so we all acquired our B license through CONCACAF. which give us the opportunity that we could have worked with the national selections. I'm the only coach not employed by the federation. But truly, having 11 coaches over a span of time shows that we are not, maybe the federation is not really focusing on what is important, is to develop the national team to a level whereby that could become a key income earner for the federation. And then farther on, if we see we could reach qualifiers basically in regards to the Gold Cup and the World Cup, then we could bring in a little bit higher expertise in order to push us over the hill, so to speak. I think that should be the way it can be done. Most of the Caribbean countries have done it that way, and we are seeing great success from them. So
that's interesting. That's excellent. We know that the Football Federation in Belize is the regulating body of football in our country.
Yes.
Could you tell us how this is related to the league, and also give us a quick overview of how the games operate in the league?
Well, the league, you will call it, so to speak, an investment league. If there is 8 top clubs in the country, and those 8 clubs played at the Premier League level, which is the highest level of football under the federation. All of those are privately owned. So the league itself is a private investment from owners influx into football. All 8 teams have to play what is called a double round robin, and then they go to a qualifying round, which is the semifinals, and then they go to the finals. What that does is it gives you an opportunity to qualify to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is played within the region. So Belize, we are dubbed with all the other Central American countries to qualify in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and then the winner from that cup goes on to what is called the CONCACAF Champions League. That's with the US, the Canada, the Mexico, and those teams. So our run of football in Belize is a qualifier to the Champions Cup.
Okay, interesting. How are the teams funded in the league, and also who represents our players?
Very important. The league itself, I always dub it as a $1 million league. My understanding just a few weeks ago that we are spending now through investment, direct investment in the league, that the owners are spending something over like $1.4 million a year. So how that come about? If you're an owner of a club, your job and responsibility is to try and see how you could get sponsorship to come into that respective club. There is some success story in regards to areas like Cayo, Verdes, Benque, Independence, San Pedro. They are not playing in this tournament presently, but also in Belize City, where we have the largest population. We haven't had a club for a period of time, but over the last 3 seasons, there is now what is called Port Loyola from Belize City. So the owners, they make that investment into the club, and they try and see how through sponsorship they could generate back some money to help keep it afloat. That's how it works, simply. But within all 8 owners, and along with the league, they're spending something over, just close to about $1.4 million each year.
So we're going to switch gears a bit. How has the attendance been this season? Has it improved since the last season?
Well, yes. In Belize City, yes. The answer is yes. In Cayo, Benque, the answer is also yes. In Independence, that is the same. I just found out just last week that Orange Rock now have been back on a rise in regards to fan turnout. Very key. All the clubs that come from a respective district area, they have been doing very well in regards to fans turnout. So Independence, which is altitude, Benque have 2 clubs play out of Benque. They have very strong support. It's almost, to my understanding, after 7 home games, they have almost clocked 6 sold-out matches at their home game. So that is very good and healthy for those respective clubs. In Belize City, it's a little bit different, simply because the team come from one area, and then you have to source fan base from all over the city. So it's a little bit more complex in Belize City. But it have been on the rise. Why? To my understanding is because we have a very competitive league since we come back out of COVID.
So you mentioned that football is on the rise. It's improving in terms of attendance, but what are some other metrics used to determine the success or growth of the league besides attendance? Looking at maybe revenues or merchandise sales, is there what in particular would the league look at?
Two very important parts. Merchandising. I think the club owners, in my view, is a little bit scared because maybe they don't have the level of fan base to sell the amount of merchandise they will really want to make a package more sellable. If I could go back into a little bit of history, there was once a jersey company from El Salvador who wanted to sponsor the league. But at the time, we couldn't prove to them that we could have sell an amount of jersey for a period of time. So that in regards to merchandising is very important. But that have to be the way we go. Lionel Messi announced that he's going to Miami, and by the next morning, 300,000 shirts have been already sold across the world. So that have to be the way we go. In regards to sponsorship, which is different because sometimes in football, people don't understand that ownership and sponsorship is two different things. People believe that if the owner have money, he doesn't need any sponsorship. And that is not the fact. The fact is that every club need a level of serious investment through sponsorship in order to keep them afloat all the time. So that is very much missing. Those two parts are very much missing. I think the marketing of the league, so that people could understand how much, how viable is the league, how strong is the competition, those are very key.
Okay, before we wrap up, could you tell us where you see the league 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I would want that 1 year from now, that the league probably could find two things are very much missing from the league. One is what is considered a technical director who could improve the football through the league itself. And then two, a marketing person who could light a fire under all the owners, that we could attract the kind of business necessary to keep the league afloat. In competitiveness, if we could improve the game on the field, certainly we could definitely improve the receipts at the gates.
So this was a very good discussion, Mr. Ottley, and thank you for joining us. We look forward to hearing a lot of good news from our football in Belize.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
When we return, we will be joining Destiny with our Innovator of the Week, so don't go away.
Welcome to City Pulse by your Belize City Council. Join us on an exciting journey through the heart of Belize City, where we showcase the transformative initiatives shaping our resilient community. Our commitment to the people is unwavering, and our city's progress is built on solid foundations. At the beginning of this year, we pledged to rehabilitate 90 streets. Proudly, we've completed 71 streets, or 36,431 linear feet, which accounts for an impressive 78% of our commitment. The Council has made significant progress. Among these, 23 have been concreted, 26 have undergone rehabilitation using the chip and seal method, and an additional 22 streets have been further enhanced, being filled or topped up with materials such as hardcore or all-in, demonstrating our commitment to improving our city's infrastructure. But we're not stopping there. We've identified 41 more streets that need our attention. We are projected to meet 100% of our 90-street commitment 2 months ahead of schedule, accounting for an unprecedented 54,829 plus linear feet of road rehabilitation completed within the last 10 months. This transformation is fueled by a $6.9 million budget allocation, with 59% coming from municipal papers, 41% from the Council's operations, and support from our valued partners. Stay connected with City Pulse and witness the journey of a brighter, more connected Belize City. We're committed to your future. This People's United Party City Council is always about the people.
Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to the Legacy Business Show. Each week, this program segment will showcase a Belizean entrepreneur making significant waves in the Belizean economy. These are forward-thinking individuals who are pushing boundaries and breaking barriers. Today, we are pleased to have with us Miss Audrey Wallace, the CEO of Colorblind Multimedia Production, a leading video content creator producing original television programs, documentaries, commercials, and media campaigns appropriate for television, social media, and online streaming. Audrey Wallace is the founder of Colorblind Multimedia Productions. She is the visionary, chief architect, and producer of a diverse array of Belizean TV shows for public education, entertainment, lifestyle, and fitness. Her career encompasses technical and managerial posts in the private, public, and NGO sectors, throughout which she has gained 25 years of experience in marketing and public relations for business, nonprofit, mass media, and tourism. She has developed and executed marketing campaigns from concept to final execution. So welcome, Ms. Wallace, and I want to definitely congratulate you on all the success. This is not my first time being with the Colorblind family, and we're actually filming Legacy Markets at your studio. So can you tell us a bit more about your journey and how you became the CEO of Colorblind Multimedia Productions?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for having me, and also I just wanted to congratulate the Managing Director of Legacy Fund, Mr. Irvin Perez, because many years ago he spoke to me about this show, and I'm so glad to see that he stuck with it until he saw the vision come through. So congratulations, Irvin, on doing this. With regards to Colorblind Multimedia Productions and how it got started, quick story is that for over 2 decades I had been involved in producing material and content for political parties. And during that journey, I really enjoyed that in terms of coming up and conceiving these ideas and producing these videos and ads, etc. But one of the things that had really bothered me for many years was the fact that when we wanted to air something and target it towards a particular audience, for example, a new voter, I realized that we did not have any local program that was segmented for different audiences in Belize. As a matter of fact, at that time, less than 25% of what we saw on Belizean television was local. Most of it has been streamed from abroad. And that really disturbed me because it really influenced our lives, and we weren't preserving our own culture. And an interesting thing happened when I started the construction with Colorblind. A funny story, I visited a friend of mine. She had a 2-year-old son. So we're just there chatting, and she asked the kid a question. And he turned around and answered in a British accent. And I was like, what? So we laughed about it, and she said, he loves Peppa Pig. And on my drive home that day, it reinforced that I was doing the right thing of wanting to tell Belizean stories, because I thought that it was so important that our children, when they look at the television, that they can see people who look like them in environments that are familiar to us. And we did not have enough of that. And so I decided to take the plunge, and that was what made me create Colorblind Multimedia Productions, to tell authentic Belizean stories.
That's amazing. And as an entrepreneur, we see something, we see a problem, and instantly we come up with a solution for that problem. And since then, you've had produced a diverse array of shows, and one of the most popular ones that I remember is The Daily Shush. And now, have you been expanding that show, or have you been expanding on some of the other shows that you previously worked on?
Right. So let me quick thing, because The Almost Daily Shush is a really good example of the name Colorblind. One of the things is that I really wanted to do that show. We had just started, we didn't have our own television station, so we used another TV station in Belize to air our programs that we created. And I was hell-bent on doing the Almost Daily Shush, which is basically a political satire. We just make fun of the news, but it's entertaining, but it's really taking serious issues. understand that at that point, I was a senior executive in a government. Therefore, the people who were going to form my content were really my bosses. And that was what was important for me, because we have to be able to laugh at ourselves. We have to be able to discuss these issues or illustrate these issues in other ways that people could sit back, enjoy, but there's a message that we really take a look at what we're doing. So the Almost Daily Shush was an important show that establishes colorblind as colorblind. Because for us, we wanted to be colorblind, whether it was for race, the color of our skin, or anything that divides this nation. And that is really the vision of colorblind. And so the Shush was a great example. And of course, we went on to do all different types of shows since then. We have done, serious shows like Missing, and talk shows, we've done game shows, we've done a lot of different shows, just trying to give a diversity to appeal to the different types in our population.
Well, that is very admirable. And I know as an entrepreneur, you have a certain vision of what you want your company to be and a certain vision of what you want to produce. And let's say other people don't see your vision the way you see your vision. How has it been in terms of getting funding or investment? And if you don't mind sharing that journey with myself as well as the viewers.
That's a good question, Destiny. This is not for the faint of heart. It's a big investment. And just quickly, when I decided to do colorblind, I decided I was going to do it right. And so we constructed a building that was built for purpose. And I did not just put together the equipment. I hired a company out of Miami to come in and install so that everything is smooth and everything runs well. That cost. And so, of course, I had to go to the financial institution to be able to access funding. And that is only part of it, putting the building and the construction, etc. Then we had to put the equipment. And I must say I was grateful because one of my friends decided that he was going to put some investment, some money in to assist with purchasing the first set of equipment for colorblind. And so that is how we got started. But we just got started. Now you have an investment. Now you have a building. Now you have equipment. You have to hire staff. And then you have to find sponsors to pay back that monthly bill to the financial institution. It has not been an easy journey because a lot of people enjoy the programming that we do. They don't understand the effort that goes into it. And in Belize, we have only a few big companies, and everybody's going after those same companies for the advertising dollar. And what has happened over just in the past 5 years, the way we create and consume content has changed drastically. First, we all used to just watch the traditional TV. Now we have Netflix, we have social media, we have everything. So colorblind has to adapt and figure out a way in which to survive by creating excellent content, telling Belizean stories, but finding a way to compete in this industry, because it's not an easy one.
And it's also an industry in Belize that doesn't get a lot of recognition because it's not a part of the blue economy. Can you emphasize more on the orange economy and tell us the role that colorblind is playing within that economy?
Destiny, that's a really good question because, in my opinion, the orange economy has such potential. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. But in Belize, we get a lot of lip service. In Belize, we have talent, we have raw talent, and colorblind is trying to do its part in creating a platform, providing a platform for Belizeans to showcase their talent. But it's raw talent. I think of Jamaica, I think of Trinidad. They invest in their people, they invest in their artists, no matter if it's an artist that draws or sings, it doesn't matter. And they reap the benefits financially. There's a very strong, thriving orange economy in those two countries. I'm sure in others, but I can speak to what I know in those two. Belize has that same opportunity to truly develop the orange economy in Belize, but we really have to sit down and have a plan and work it. It cannot be that it depends on a personality in government. If there is a minister who supports it, then that minister lasts 3 years and then they drop it. No, it has that we have to have a plan and it has to be a priority. So at Colorblind, we just try to do our part, give voice to our talented Belizeans, and hopefully we can contribute and hopefully they can start taking it seriously.
So do you have any intentions of expanding the film industry in Belize?
funny that you asked. Actually, great timing. Coloban is taking on this ambitious project of producing a documentary on the Nora Parham story. And we're very excited about it, and we're trying to produce a first-rate movie, and we want to do justice for her family, for her memory on the Nora Parham story. And I don't know if people are aware of the Nora Parham story, so in 45 seconds I'll just say what it is. Nora Parham was the first and only woman to be executed in Belize. It was in 1963, June 5th, that she was executed. She had a common law husband who was a police officer. He was an abuser, and everybody knew that. Unfortunately, one day he caught fire in an outside latrine. They blamed Nora Parham, and she was tried, convicted, and hung all within 4 months. But we also have to look back at the time in the 60s where women were not equal. It was very patriarchal. At that point, it was male-dominated. The governor was a man. The judge was a man. All 12 jurors were men. It was a police officer who died. So we really want to do justice to this story and bring it to life. And so we're very happy that the representative from UNICEF supports this project. We're on the last days, I think just a couple days ago, the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence just ended. And so it's a timely subject. This story is so relevant today, it's amazing, because we still continue with the scourge of domestic violence, the scourge of violence against women and girls. And so I think it is a story that can really spark a conversation and just do right. One of the important things as to why the time is so right is that we can end on a happy note in a sort of a way, because 59 years after she was executed, she got a posthumous pardon. And so her children, when she was executed, she had 8 small boys. She was only 36 years old. So you can feel what I'm saying with this story. This is a story that has to be told. And so yes, Colorblind is embarking on this ambitious project.
That story is going to be definitely one that sends chills down the viewer's body. As I just got chills, and being from PG, I am definitely aware of the story, and it's one that is not necessarily talked about as much because of the history and the context of it. So it's amazing that you are shedding light on these stories, real, authentic Belizean stories that deserves to be broadcasted.
Absolutely.
It has been a pleasure having this conversation with you. So thank you for your time. Thank you for what you're doing for our nation and continuing to give Belizeans a platform.
Thank you so much for having me, Destiny.
You're welcome. And that's it for today's show. Remember to join us weekly on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. for another episode of Legacy Markets. For now, we want to say good night, and remember, together, we create a legacy of a better world. Bye.